Hey everybody, Jim from Jim's Coleus and Coleus. Okay, things are really starting to move along. I'm looking forward to getting out in the greenhouse even more this year, and that's always been a problem because my impatience sometimes I've learned from the past really created more problems than ever. You know, like getting them outside too soon, even in my greenhouse with a heater and so forth. So I learned to pace myself and be patient and know when to move my plants outside. But if you're following along with me, depending on what stage you're in, you can apply it to, you know, where you're at, where I'm at, and so forth. But I'm gonna go really quick. I'm gonna show you how my Coleus, I don't want to call them germinations anymore. They're getting to be plants. How they're doing, what they look like, whether you planted 25, 50, or 100, or just a handful. If you want to pot your Coleus, you can apply this to any type of pot. I use nursery pots because of the system I use, and because of looking ahead at my farmer's market, I used, and we're gonna go out in the greenhouse in a minute. This is just a guide for you if you're following along and you want to know when's a good time to separate your Coleus if you have to, when to pot them with these pods. And I'm showing you, you don't necessarily have to separate them if you don't want. If you just planted one Coleus seed per pod, you can just pop that pod right into a pot. I don't want to, a tongue twister, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm going to show you basically just get prepared. We still have some time on separating and potting Coleus and getting them into nursery pots. That way the real magic can go. Once they're in a pot, they're established, then they have that room to grow, and we can water and fertilize them, and that's when it starts. Here we are, mid-March already. Days are going to are obviously getting longer. The sun's getting more intense, so the plants are going to start to respond, whether it's your germinations, your overwintered Coleus, or what have you. So I'm going to go over really quick what system I use, and you can apply it to whatever you're going to do. If you want to go and purchase the nursery pots online, I'll give you tips on that. What type of soil to use, very, very important. And I will give you advance warning when I'm actually going to start to separate my Coleus, which a few of them are ready to go now. A few of them. So I may pot one or two. All right, so I'm going to go in the greenhouse real quick, show you basically what I have, apply it to what you're doing if you're following along here. Apply it to what you're doing. It doesn't have to be nursery pots, as I mentioned. Before we go to the greenhouse, let's go and take a look at these beautiful let's take a look at these beautiful germinations. Like I said, they're not germinations really anymore. They are regular. These are beautiful, beautiful Coleus. Ready to go. And again, as I mentioned earlier, if you're following along, I planted them I did different trays at different times, so I don't have all of my Coleus growing at the same rate, because it's just me separating and potting them. It's a lot of work, so I stagger my trays out so I can do a little at a time so I don't go mad. So, okay, so let's get a little close-up of these babies, and we'll head into the greenhouse. I'll give you a general idea of what I use and what you could use. Apply it to you if you want to get your Coleus going for spring and summer. Okay, so here we are. As you can see, we got a lot of nice color, and you can see some of them are a little behind in others. So I'm looking ahead. I'm getting prepared because I know I want to get these separated shortly, because they need to be separated. There's 4 there, so they really need to be separated. We want to get going. We want to get prepared. We want to get prepared for potting. So let's head out again. Let's head out to the greenhouse, and I'll show you the nursery pots that I use and the trays and so forth. And again, you can apply it to whatever you're going to do with your plants. And here's my other tray. You can see these are a lot smaller. Some of them are coming in a little bigger. Some of them are coming in a little faster or larger. Here's some pods that I reseeded just a couple of days ago that just the seeds didn't germinate. That happens. There's some more. So that's good. And as you can see, I have them out of the greenhouse. The indoor greenhouse, have them out of my trays here. Getting some sun, really healthy. Some people use fans. I don't really use them. I don't have mold issues. I don't have any overwatering issues. I don't really need to. They're getting oxygen. I don't need to force oxygen on them. I don't want to really dry them out, so I don't really use a fan. You can, but I don't have any issues with mold or anything with these. One thing, when they're out like this, these trays, these pods can dry out pretty quick. I gave them a very gentle shower, very gentle shower before I put them out here, just anticipating the drying of the sun here. And I have the baseboard heat, so these can dry out pretty quick. I can tell by the weight of the tray that these are well watered. So we're gonna let them sit out here. I move them as the sun moves across the sky, but it's good to see it's sort of dappled. And this is sort of like a pre-hardening. It's getting these little guys used to sun and shade and the movement of the sun and so forth. So, and we're going to get into hardening later on. So, we had a little nor'easter over the weekend. Did some little, not damage really, but just kind of blew things all around. Let's head into that greenhouse. Okay, so as you can see, I did a little cleaning up. I actually moved the racks, 2 racks inside of the house. So you can see, got it semi-organized. Picked up my potting soil. This is the stuff I suggest. Miracle-Gro Moisture Control Potting Mix. And I do have a bag of worm castings on order. So you can hear the wind. It's really windy out. We're still getting, again, I'm right by the ocean. So we're getting gusts of like 40 miles an hour. So so get your potting mix, good quality Miracle-Gro or equivalent. Try to get a name brand, a good quality Miracle-Gro potting mixture. Do not use soil from your garden. It's got bacteria in it. Certainly don't use topsoil or any other thing other than seed starter mix or potting soil when you're starting your seeds, because it's in general sterile and your seeds will be able to germinate and your plants will have a better chance to make it with the potting mixture. So Miracle-Gro Moisture Control potting mix or the regular Miracle-Gro potting mixture. It just doesn't have as much of the vermiculite. You can add your own stuff. People do that. They add more their own moisture retention items like vermiculite or so forth. So all right, so get your potting mixture ready. These are these are the nursery pots that I mentioned, and I have many of these. I have a lot of new ones, and I've accumulated them over the years. Obviously, most of the plants that I put in here will grow in this greenhouse through the season, and you will be following along with me. And eventually, I will be taking some of these plants out of these pots and putting them into decorator pots that I create, that I sell at the farmer's market. And there's a few that I create for my house, as you can see here. Hanging baskets and whatever I have here. And then the rest I sell at the farmer's market for people just to buy on their own for $2-3 a piece to plant in their own planters, or if they're going to plant them in the ground. So, but I like to use these. They're soft. You can get them bulk on Amazon or eBay. They sell them at dollar stores. So if you're only planting 25, 50 plants, you can just go to a dollar store and get them. These are the smaller ones. They have larger ones also, which I have. So these are, I think these are considered 3s or 3.5s, and these are 4s. So I use these because of the soil. I don't have to use as much soil because my end game is to sell my Coleus. Yes, I want to teach you how to grow your Coleus and take care of them and get them going real beautiful. My end game is to sell these at the farmers market in Bayhead, which I do June through September. And all the plants I sell, I donate a lot of the money to different organizations and so forth. I always have fun drives going on my Instagram channel. If you know, you follow along, you know that. But anyway, here we are. Here's that wind again. Woo! Dorothy. Okay, so we have plenty of pots here. I'm gonna take a bunch of these inside, and I'm gonna wipe them out on my deck. Get most of the heavy. There shouldn't be much soil in here because I cleaned them out pretty good in the fall, and I'm gonna rinse them out real quick. I'm gonna put them in my sink. I'm gonna put I don't know, 2-3 tablespoons of bleach in there just to clean out, make sure there's no bacteria in these pots. I don't want to. I want to give my Coleus, my new Coleus that I'll be planting into these, the best chance. So we're gonna give them a quick cleaning, rinsing down, and then I'm gonna put them in trays, which I'm gonna show you in a minute, and then we'll fill each pot individually with the potting mixture and separate our Coleus plants. And as you can see here, I'll show you a little clip or a couple of little photos, and transplant them into these pots, into the trays, and then the trays will be staying indoors on my racks here until they get fairly large, until I can get out into the greenhouse here, which will be probably mid-May, when there's all danger of frost is gone. I do have a heater, as you can see, so I really look at the forecast. Maybe I can get them out a little earlier, but as I mentioned in the opening, I try not to rush and get my plants out here, my young plants out here too fast, because there's a chance that if it gets, even with the heater on, it can still be a chance. It's a little rough for the young plants, and it can damage and set me back. So, okay, so here, this is basically a sample of what I do, and I'll have about the 2 racks that I have in my bay, by my bay window, will hold about 15 of these trays. So again, this is just a guide on, just to give you an idea of what you can do if you're planting a larger number of Coleus indoors, and you have room to set up a system like I do with racks in front of a window, and you want to grow your Coleus and eventually put them outside. This is a system I use, and again, I'll have about 15 of these racks filled up with these pots. I clean them, dry them out, fill them with potting mixture, and there's an idea of the difference between the 4-inch and the 3-inch one. So I like to use the 3-inch one where I get more pots per tray. And again, my main thing is to get them into pots, get them into the potting soil, and that's when the magic really starts to happen. When they start to develop and really grow, we can get the fertilizer into them, and that's the system I've been using over these years. So get yourself some Miracle Grow potting mixture. Get these trays if you want. You can order them online, or you can go to a caterer near you, maybe. But so check Restaurant Supply or whatever. Or you don't have. It doesn't even necessarily have to be catering trays. I use these. You can use really anything that holds the pots. Just an idea. I'm just giving you ideas, and then you can apply it to whatever, your cardboard box or whatever. I like the trays because obviously that's significant. Is that when I water these, the trays will retain the water and they won't leak. So I always make sure that these trays don't have holes in them. So obviously when I water, they're not going to leak all over the floor. Of course, some of them, the ones that may have a hole in them, I'll put them up top. And if they do leak, they'll leak down on below to the trays that'll be below on the rack. So, but just an idea. So get these pots, 3-inch soft nursery pots, very, very easy. And they're easy later on when you need to pop out your plants. You can just squeeze them and they pop right out. They got lots of drain holes. So these are great for getting your plants started. And not just Coleus, any plants, vegetables. I'll be planting my bell pepper soon. Actually, I'm probably gonna do that today. And I use this same thing with the Miracle Grow potting mixture. All right, everybody, so we bought this tray in. Again, I wiped them out pretty good at the end of fall when I emptied a lot of whatever I had. I emptied them out and then I recycle those in my vegetable garden. So I'm basically gonna do a tray at a time. I'm not gonna do it on video here, but this is just my system. I want to make sure that these are clean and there's no bacteria on them. So again, I'm gonna rinse them out in hot water. I'm gonna put my sink here, put some water in it, put a dash of bleach in it, let them soak a little while, and then rinse them off real good. Put them back in the tray here and let them sit out and air dry. I'm not gonna be potting them yet. When I do separate a few of these, I'll post a video on how to do that. So if you're following along, this is just really a preparation video, sort of like what I did with the Jiffy Pods. And if you're anticipating potting your Coleus and you've never done it before, you can use, again, as I mentioned time and time again, I like to repeat important things. I get criticized a lot of that, but that's how I teach you, by drilling in important things. So anyway, just as a guide to give you ideas how to pot when you do separate or pot your Coleus, this is just an idea of what you could do. And those little pods that your Coleus are growing in, if you're using Jiffy Pods, you don't have to separate the netting if you want. You can actually take that pod that has 1 or 2 Coleus growing in it and fill up your pot, poke a hole in the center with the potting mixture, and drop that pod in your pot, gently cover it, fill it, and water and fertilize, and let the Coleus grow right there, right in those pods, which is another reason why the pods are so great, because you can just pop them right into the ground, or into your pots rather, and let them grow. So I separate them because I overseed, and obviously I grow 500-600 Coleus, so I'm not going to be putting 5 Coleus into these little pots. So all right, so get your stuff ready. Still have plenty of time, but get your stuff ready. Any questions? If you're not really sure where to get them, you're having difficulties, you're not sure, send me a message either here on YouTube or Instagram messages. This is just a one brand Osmocote. It's a general purpose time release fertilizer pellet, and I use this. I sprinkle a few of these on when I pot my when I separate my young Coleus plants and pot them into these. I sprinkle a little of this. This is your fertilizer, and that way I don't have to fertilize it every couple of weeks. I don't have to actually mix up Miracle Grow. This is really good stuff because it's time release and it feeds as you water. So Osmocote Plus or equivalent, Miracle Grow, Jonathan Green, any, as long as it's a good quality, but just get something that is a general purpose. You don't want something that's for flowers, even though this has flowers on it. You don't want anything that's specifically for flowers or vegetables or acid-loving plants. You want a general purpose plant food, a general purpose time release pellet fertilizer for indoor, outdoor plants. Okay, everybody, so get your stuff ready. Take your time. You can apply this based on wherever you're at. You can look through my list of videos. I have over 300 videos. If you're not familiar with that, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I have over 300 videos that I've done over the course of the years, and obviously they go in seasonally. So I do have other videos on how I pot Coleus and so forth, and the different plants. And it's exciting because each year the Coleus are a little different and so forth. All right, so get your stuff ready. Not sure when, possibly another week or so. I'm going to separate a few of these. And that's really how I handle this, the abundance of Coleus, is a little at a time, which is, again, as I mentioned, why I plant them, I stagger them when I plant them. So I don't have 500-600 Coleus all coming, so I don't have 500 or 600 Coleus all ready to pot at once, and I can't keep up. It's just me. So that's another reason why I do this. So another week or so, I'm going to pot up a few. Maybe I'll throw out a short. Shorts are only a minute long, so I like to get a little more detail. So I'll do a little detailed video just to get the juices flowing. And then once I start to pot more of them, then we'll get into a little more detail and so forth. So we're getting very close to 10,000 subscribers. So I'm real excited for that milestone. It means a lot for a general Coleus channel. So I'm real excited. I'm at, I think I'm 80 or 60, maybe 60 or 70 subscribers away from reaching 10,000. So thank you, everybody, if you subscribe. Real appreciate that. Please pass my channel along if you know anybody that may be interested in learning how to grow Coleus or to take care of Coleus or plants in general. You can apply a lot of the principles I teach and so forth to regular plants as well. So, all right. So thanks for following along, everybody. Stay tuned. Lots of growing. The season's going to get a lot more exciting. I'm really looking forward to getting out of this bay window, this dining room area, and getting out into the sun and the colors. And when I have my Coleus set up on tables and they're all growing and colorful and so forth, it's so much fun. And it's so relaxing, and it gives you such ideas, and which is another reason why I like to bring these videos out to you. So it's a lot of fun, and it's relaxing, and Lord knows we all need some relaxing in these times. So, all right, everybody, take care. Stay tuned for the next video. It should be out shortly. Take care, everyone.